All right, yes, indeed. Once again, it is time for Oak Island Weekly as part of the Kanika Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Kenny, and I am joined once again, as always, by my lovely co-host and my beautiful wife, Nika. Good afternoon, Nika.
Hey, Kenny. What's up?
What's cracking?
What's cracking? Hello to our new and returning listeners and the fans of the Curse of Oak Island.
Welcome all. It's Friday, so you've had a few days to take it in. We had a fun morning. We actually went into the hot tub today.
We did. That's
was
because
fun.
you feel injured.
Well, I have a sore neck. I don't know. A sleeping injury may have occurred. It sounds kind of strange, but it's true. It happens sometimes.
happens.
Make sure you got good pillows out there, everybody.
And here I thought you were part of the digging crew and you injured yourself.
We also got 1 week left of Carnivore Month starting tomorrow, Saturday. So make sure if you haven't tried Carnivore Month yet, you at least do 1 week next week. Join us in doing 1 week.
Okay.
Come on, everybody.
That's a great idea. I don't think you get enough benefits.
Well, I
give it
guarantee
a
you, if
try.
you don't indulge in a lot of the carbohydrates for 1 week, you will feel better.
True.
You just will. All right. Well, we are back, and we are looking at Season 12, Episode 9 of Curse of Oak Island. And if you haven't been on our Oak Island Weekly show yet, this is only our third one, so you haven't missed much. And yeah, we did kind of launch it really late here, starting with Season 12 and Episode, I guess, 7. But here we are, Episode 9, Season 12, and things are moving along. We took in this episode on Thursday night this week, which is why you're getting the Friday edition here. And yeah, we felt pretty underwhelmed, I think, overall by this episode. But we're going to take you through it, a little play-by-play action. Let's see here. We started out this episode right again in the money pit, and this is kind of where we left last week, and things were not going well, if you'll remember. The drill had kind of went sideways, and but there was renewed optimism. Everyone was there, but Marty ended this segment, I noticed, by saying he really wants to have a breakthrough in the money pit. And I got sad news for you, Marty.
And looking too good.
It didn't come by this episode's ending point, at least. From there, we went over to Lot 5. It was Rick, Gary, and Fiona Steele, and Helen was there. This was kind of like a check-in. Nothing immaculate happened here. And then we went on to the swamp, and
That's what was teased last week.
this was kind of what was teased last week. Yeah, right away. Gary and Craig, Alex, Billy, G are out there, and they move some boulders around in the swamp, is what my notes say, but they find a brick, and then it looks like there's multiple bricks there, and this is what was teased in that teaser last week, was the bricks in the swamp. And
the bricks are also handmade, so they're not.
yeah, they are funky
manufactured.
looking and not your run-of-the-mill type of bricks. I mean, they are reddish orange colored, but they definitely look a little rough around the edges.
Yes,
A little more primitive.
Yes, those are the kind of bricks you will pay shitload of money right now to have.
Well, I think Alex takes one out and then puts it back. And they're like, hey, we need to go call Laird. And if you don't know who Laird is, the Canadian government official that's been assigned to work with them. And he basically needs to give them permission for everything they do.
I think he's the lead archaeologist on the dig.
I would say, yeah, that's a good way to label him.
Yeah.
or classify his rank. So that was pretty exciting, and this is kind of like more of the highlight, I think, of this episode. And they start talking about this Anthony Graves character, who's someone that lived on Oak Island near the swamp feature that they're digging in right now. And he bought Oak Island and lived on Lot 12. So this is Lot 12. The archaeological site is Lot 5, just for,
The way it's
eyeball
surveyed.
pieces.
And
Those are
divided.
the way the lots are. So they're a little bit ways away. But Lot 12 is where they're digging. And Anthony Graves supposedly had a lot of Spanish silver coins
Oh,
that he was spending around, and made people wonder what he found on Oak Island. When he passed away, his family didn't find shit. So he either hid it really well somewhere and they didn't find it, or spent it. I think the folks here that are digging up the swamp are hoping for the latter, or I mean, hoping for the former, hoping that he hid it somewhere.
Yeah, that could happen.
Could happen. All right. Well, from there we go back to the money pit, and Alex and Uncle Rick are there. They do find more wood pieces now at 109 feet. The problem is as they keep going deeper, they are not finding this like chapel vault structure that they're looking for. They're not finding the original money pit. Did they find the void? I don't think so.
No, they found this tunnel. They don't know what it belongs to. It's unknown structure. That's what they've been calling it. And they were hoping this is the original chapel vault, because I believe in the previous episode, they found some wood and they thought they punched through the vault.
Yeah, and they also felt like it had some man-made concrete on top, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Based
So
on-
that was like kind of what led them to believe that it might be this vault structure.
Right.
So,
And they wanted, the way they wanted to retrieve, they wanted to retrieve the whole vault. They wanted to put a big case on around it and just pull it out. And now
yeah,
they lost it again.
they lost it. Yeah. So it kind of ends abruptly there, and then we find ourselves back in the swamp. Now, I think Laird is now there, and they find this other square structure that is like, I wrote that it's a brick and slate feature. But Laird, Craig, and Jack, they're unearthing more of these bricks, and they seem more confounded and confused. From there, we go back to lot 5, and Laird finds a button, and he's all proud of himself for that, isn't he, Nika?
Oh, yeah. He brings the enthusiasm.
Yeah, definitely. Laird is pumped up for this button find. It's a ornate button, by the way, and they can kind of tell by the greenish color that it's coppery. So it kind of gives them some intrigue. It's like a 2-piece button that comes together. It reminded me of like a pin you would wear like on your band uniform or something that was from the front and the back. So just imagine that, but like as a button feature.
It looked very elegant and it had very details.
Well, we're going to find out about that in the lab. But before we get there, we have to go back to the money pit, because this is where they find shreds of wood at like 119 feet in the new borehole where they were just digging south of where they were previously. And then they also find this void now, this time that you're talking about, at 157 feet.
Yes.
So they're kind of guessing or hoping that this is the void that some previous diggers, I believe, had said they made next to the chapel vault down below ground. No one knows.
No one knows. It's up in the air what it is. They're excited, though.
Definitely excited. But from there, we go to the lab, and it's Rick, Craig, Emma, Laird, Jack, and Gary, a big crowd in there. And this is for the big button analysis. And it is confirmed to be a copper alloy 2-piece button. And the coolest part was the scan. And I think they use like some kind of generative AI where they can like now scan an ancient artifact and then like kind of show you a mock-up really quickly of what it would look like.
It's
if
almost
it
a
were
3D
new.
mock-up. It's almost 3D looking picture.
Pretty cool, but it also revealed this like really flowery, ornate design on the top of it, and it was really pretty cool looking. Something different, unique, and it does look ornate. It does look high class for the time, and that's, I guess, fuel for the fire for them.
Could be. It could be part of a treasure, or just somebody lost a button.
Yeah. Or like a wealthy person lost a button that was moving treasure.
There
Who knows?
could be. Yeah.
That's what they're hoping for, obviously. Well, from there, we went back out into the swamp, and it was Dr. Spooner time. And Steve was actually there with him. Steve's usually at the muddy pit digging little boreholes, but he was actually out there with Dr. Spooner looking at the swamp. And they brought up Anthony Graves again and the Spanish coins. When they started pulling up more of the bricks, you can kind of see like a wooden box underneath it. And Rick kind of said, like, that looks like a safety deposit box. I think Rick just like gets excited and wants everything to be linked to some kind of box or treasure box or safety deposit box or anything that has treasure. Rick will be on board.
They've
for.
been digging for 12 years. I think they want some treasure.
Yeah, they want some yield at some point. The investors are knocking. Hey, We gave you 12 years of treasure digs. Where are you? Where are we at? What do we got?
They could have invested in Bitcoin.
Button?
You know, they could have invested in Bitcoin.
I wonder what the Oak Island TV show investment over 12 seasons versus the same money purchased in Bitcoin year after year after year. Now, you have to go by what Bitcoin's worth at the time of the season being made.
No, we know it crashed a few times.
Wow. You could probably have a lot more gold if you would have just not dug up the island. But it's not as cool to look at or fun to think about, I guess.
Sure. I think they like what they are doing.
Of course. I'm teasing, of course.
I know.
Nothing can replace what they're doing. And as we discussed on last week's episode or previous, it really does appear that it's becoming like a family heirloom, just the museum and the idea of what they're doing and cleaning up and preserving all of this legacy of this island, like this story. It's literally been going on now for over 200 years.
And also they've been buying the lots around it to expand the search.
Aggressively. We got to look for more, under more nooks and crannies for anything Gary can find.
You're right. You just don't know what can be hidden under the dirt. And there's a lot of dirt.
I've always felt like there's a hidden lever somewhere. They're just going to pull it one day and everything's going to be revealed.
Oh, yeah, sure. We are in a simulation, so why not?
Yeah, why not? All right. Well, the episode ends at the swamp here, and we get a little montage of everybody working at the money pit and at the lot 5 and in the swamp. And then we're given our famous treat next week on Oak Island, which is like where the hype begins, I guess, before the air gets sucked out of the room slowly as you watch the episode. But next time, I mean, Katya's back. Is that her name? Katya. Katya's back, and she's going to be bringing the metal detector into that swamp brick area. And it looks like there's some hits, and Rick's digging in there. They're excited. Everybody. It looks like some wood comes up from the money pit again, and there's some nail in it. So some evidence of definitely man-made something, a majigger 100 feet underground on Oak Island. Why? Why?
Box? A box? Another box?
Or is this just remnants of people that were looking for the treasure now that we're just finding? I don't know anymore. Something on lot 5 also makes everybody really happy in the teaser. So we'll have to wait and see what the microscope and the lab determines that is, but we got to find out what it even is first.
Well, with that lot 5, I remember they brought Gary to scan that structure, the rock structure. He was so disappointed that he
was like, man, you're teasing me, man. Let's go.
He wasn't able to dig anything that the metal detector was pinging because it's archaeological site.
Yeah, there was a couple times where he was like, I think you might want to dig here, mate. You know, I think we should just start digging right now.
But I also wrote it that they say that this site needs to be excavated slowly and
methodically. Oh, okay. Slowly and methodically. Yeah, that's Rick's go-to for anything on the island. That's why we're on season 12 and we haven't just plundered to the bottom yet. Like, I don't know. I feel like Elon Musk would have gotten this done by now. Like, he'd have been like, no, we're just going to drill right through, mate.
Instead of putting the casings, they should have put a little robot in there.
Is there a robot yet? I mean, like, let's bring forces together here and figure this out.
Maybe. That's a good solution. But you know what? The worst part of watching this show later, it's the commercials. The commercials killed the show.
Yeah, History Channel. Where are the interactive ads again, please? It was literally 30 seconds and I was back to watching the show. And now I'm back to 5-minute ad breaks from you on the app.
Yeah, I even wrote down the most commercials, drugs, and gambling. That's it. That's all it's being promoted.
Thanks to Big Pharma and Big Gambling for keeping Oak Island on free television, I guess. But the cost of free. I mean, we always watch it on the History Channel app the day after because it gets posted for free.
Yeah.
So we can't complain too hard. But man, the sound mixing is like 10 decibels hotter. It hurts your ears.
It really does. And
it's nuts. But ultimately, this episode, as I said at the beginning, left a little bit to be desired, I feel like. And especially when you feel like they're getting closer and closer to figuring things out, and then it's just like, oh, we're at a standstill. We're just stalled out. I think I called the last podcast. Stalled out in the money pit, and this felt like a continuation of that. We're getting nowhere fast here. We're drilling more holes in the ground that are probably we're not gonna be able to keep just poking holes endlessly in the ground. Otherwise, there will be no more ground left. So I understand that they have to be smart about where they drill, but it's got to be heartbreaking for them to just come up empty-handed after you feel like, oh, we're finding something.
Yeah.
It's like deja vu all over again. At least the swamp is interesting again. I'm more amazed by what appears to be so much man-made structure under there. You know, I don't think I really truly believed it at first when it was happening, but the more stuff that they find, there's something happened there. Whether it's like previous expeditions to the money pit itself or something that's actually connected to the actual treasure and money pit. I don't know yet.
Isn't the swamp man-made?
They think it is. Yeah. They say it is. So I mean, it appears to be. They found a whole road underneath there.
Right. So was it possible to say that the swamp was man-made to cover up whatever is underneath?
Well, it's possible. Who knows at this point? I think, but they should keep going on the bricks and figure out what's what there.
Yeah.
And, I guess also is the old road that they dug up connected in any way to this new stuff. And, I think that would be something I would want to figure out. And are the two sites even connected? Is there stuff in between that is underneath the swamp? I don't know how you get all this stuff out of there either. It's got to be a logistical nightmare because it's just water and mud next to the ocean.
And it's cold.
And it is cold looking up there, I mean, I know we're all mostly experiencing winter right now, even those of us in southwestern America. It is a bit brisk in some certain mornings. Today it was in the 30s. So it's not all peaches and rainbows over here, everybody. It does get a little chilly, and we feel it too.
Oh, it was cold in the morning today.
You tell him, Mika.
35.
I guess I feel like this is one of those episodes where after I watch it, it makes me wonder, boy, oh boy, oh boy, are they ever really going to truly find anything here resembling treasure?
Well, it depends what a treasure means to them.
Well, we know what it means to them because they haven't really been hiding that fact. They get all giddy when they start talking about gold and silver. Like their faces light up. And I mean, yeah, the buttons and the history and everything is nice. The museum is nice. All the little pieces they found over the years are nice. But like, let's be honest, it's not what they wanted getting into this.
They want the gold, the silver, and everything else that comes from that.
They want the damn water that the gold and silver's been sitting in, and they want to drink it. They should not drink that water, but
they are treasure hunters.
Yeah, they are. And so it's when you look at it through that lens, I get a little bit scared and nervous for them because I don't know if they're going to find what they're looking for on this island. I think it's not showing a lot of obvious fruit right now. Like, I think something weird happened there. I think stuff happened there, but I don't know. And I think all of our technology that's dating things could be way off or who knows.
Yeah. Could be very inaccurate too. So the story could be totally different.
It could be, but it doesn't stop them from speculating. They seem really fixated on this Concepcion story, the ship that sunk in the Caribbean and had a lot of silver on it, right? And this was the captain from Britain that they found some of his metal objects on Oak Island. So I guess it's as good of a bet as any that we've had in terms of theories.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Sure. We're just going to have to follow.
All right. Well, this brings us, I guess, to the end of our road, and we'll be back. We're going to keep watching. I'm going to keep hoping. It looks like we have some exciting stuff happening on the show next week, but it always looks like that, and it didn't feel like that as I watched it this week. It was slow moving, and I guess I could do without all of the in-between at this point. It's like, let's just cut to the good stuff. If it all happens in the last 2 weeks of the filming, then I don't know.
Well, but maybe they have to stretch it for so many episodes. That's why they drip this stuff.
This feels like the stretchy part. And I feel like every season starts to kind of go through this where they have like exciting stuff that they're working on at the beginning to kind of get you excited and into it. And then it kind of levels out for a few weeks. And I feel like we're going through that lull right now after the new year. And hopefully things get moving again pretty quickly. Either way, we'll be watching, we'll be tuned in, and we'll be delivering our Oak Island weekly reports as long as they are on the air, everybody, right here on the Kanika Lifestyle Podcast. And please, please, please help us out and do us a favor, and please go subscribe to us everywhere you can. We're going to be on YouTube now. We're on Spotify, Apple, probably other places as well that have podcasts and RSS feeds attached to them. But please help us out. It would mean a great deal to us to start seeing those subscription numbers tick up a little bit. All right.
Great plugin.
Well, thank you, my love.
Great plugin. Yes.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy the NFL games, everybody. If you don't know about our sister podcast, the Kanika Baseball Podcast, please go and check out our latest episode there. It's about Jaden Daniels, the Washington Commanders quarterback, who will be in the NFC Championship game this weekend, the rookie, and all of the cool things he's doing with VR technology. This is not just another video game, folks. This is the real deal, and this is the next, what they're calling Quarterback 2.0. Go check it out. Go follow us and subscribe and like us everywhere you can. And we'll be back next week with all new content on both of our podcast channels. See you then, everybody.